and welcome to Watching My Wealth, my channel where you can watch me attempt to get money management right. Thank you so much for joining me. I am going through my budget today. It'll be paycheck 3 of 3 for October. My favourite months are the ones where I get paid 3 times, and also giving you an update on my budget news. Now you'll have to excuse me. I think I've got a little bit of a croaky voice. I'm actually heading off after this to get a test for the virus, hoping that I'm fine. I'll go straight into the news and I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about that anyway. Here we go. Okay, so my financial news for October. The big piece of news is that the lockdown in Melbourne is easing. We still have restrictions in place, but we can move around the city a bit more freely and interact with our friends in social settings a bit more freely. And thankfully, for many people, it's meant a return to work. Our case numbers are really low right now, and I'm just hoping that it stays that way. I've somehow gotten sick through this, even though I've been staying fairly isolated. Really hoping that it's nothing serious, because the chances of it happening are so slim and would mean that I have the worst luck possible, but we'll see how that goes. As mentioned in my last video, the Australian government has introduced some tax cuts to help stimulate the economy in the wake of 2020 and the year that it has been. So my salary has now been increased by around $58 a fortnight. I should say my take-home salary obviously doesn't change what my employer is paying me. I'm just getting taxed less. And excitingly, I have found a way to cut my spending in a number of categories without sacrificing my wants and needs. I'll fill you in maybe at the end of the video, but I'm actually annoyed at myself for not discovering this sooner. It's such an easy change to what I'm doing with my money that is going to save me probably around 5% of my spending, I believe. So with that, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to my third budgeting video for October. So exciting. I am budgeting for November. And as anyone who's watched my previous videos knows, I'm now at a position where I'm able to take the paycheck I'm receiving this month in October and use it to fund categories in November. This is called getting a month ahead. It effectively means I've got a month buffer in my budget. It's like adding an extra month of emergency fund to your savings. It's a fabulous position to be in, and I'm incredibly grateful to be here. I think I've shared previously that I'm on a journey of financial recovery. I became sick a number of years ago, and through that lost my job, lost my home. I had been a high income earner and was living the life, putting money into savings every month, but not really paying attention to it, not investing it, not looking at my spending and ensuring that I was making the best decisions for me. So once I lost my job, the bottom kind of fell out, and I was able to live off my savings for a period of time, but it was certainly stressful. And I think the whole world is seeing now that sometimes, life hits us. Doesn't matter how successful we are or how young and fit and healthy we are or whatever it may be. The more we can do to prepare ourselves and give ourselves some financial security, the better able we are to deal with change in our lives. That's where I'm at. I'm rebuilding. It's taking me some time. I'm on the journey I wish I'd started when I was 20 or 21, but here I am in my late 30s, and I'm getting my act together. So today, as I said, we're budgeting in November, but we're dealing with that little bit of overspending. I still need to put $2,858.22 into November to consider it fully funded, we're not going to be able to do that today. So I'm going to have to make a few strategic moves, some decisions to ensure that this money goes everywhere it needs to go and that I can get through November without any issue. So with that, let's just get started. I will begin by funding the remainder of my needs categories. My rent and utilities, as you can see here, are already covered. My groceries, I normally put $700 into this category, but today I will put $600. Oh, look, it's already there for me. There's a couple of reasons I'm putting less in here. First of all, there's a lot of stuff in my kitchen I need to eat. So there's a lot of half empty bags of oatmeal and random bits and pieces. So time to clear out the pantry and the freezer and make sure I'm not doubling up on things and buying things I don't really need. Secondly, as I mentioned in my budget update, I've found a way to make my money work harder for me, which I'm really excited about. And it actually applies to all of these categories where I've put the little smiley money face. I'll give you some more detail about that at the end, but I'm very comfortable with $600 for the month. I think that will be more than enough. For my stake investment account, I definitely want to add funds to this, but I will come back to it at the end. Medical, I will fund this with $50. My internet and my mobile phone are from the same provider and they're fixed costs, so combined it's $93 billed on the same day. They are now fully funded. My car insurance is fully funded. My car registration is fully funded, and I want to thank one of my lovely viewers for giving me the hot tip that I should have changed this to a spending goal with a scheduled date and have it recur rather than treating it as a monthly budget. So I've made that change. Thank you for the hot tip. And please, anyone who's got ideas on how I can budget better, please tell me. Sometimes it's really hard to look at your own budget objectively. For my linked account and my petrol, linked is road tolls in Melbourne. I've just funded my linked account and I've just filled my car with petrol. And obviously, given lockdown, we're not going very far at the moment. So I think I can leave those for November and fund them in December. Hair, I have fully depleted this fund because hairdressers reopened. Whoa! So I went there as soon as I could, got my hair done after not having to put money into this account for so long. This feels a bit brutal, but I need to add $100. Okay, so that's my needs funded. Like I said, I haven't funded all those accounts, but I think this will be fine for November. I don't think I'm going to need to add any more. My next section is wants, which is obviously discretionary. I'm going to fund that last, given that we don't have all of our salary available to us at the moment. I've got $1,183.09 left. I will start with Family Fund. Family Fund is where I'm saving money to start a family. I'm a single person, so the way I'm going to start a family is a little up in the air. I've been looking at IVF and I've been looking at adoption and I've been looking at foster care, and I am feeling more comfortable with a decision to move towards adoption. And with that, the process can be very, very lengthy. I'm very close to reaching my goal of $10,000. And knowing that that's probably the path I'm going to go down, I think I can be a little less aggressive with funding this. The expenses are quite staggered at the beginning, and the process in total can, depending on which country I decide to adopt from, could take anywhere from 4 to 7 years. So I think I can slow this down a little bit. I would normally put 500, but this month, given, yeah, this is probably the point. I would normally put 500, and if I had 500 this month to give, I would absolutely put that in there. But given we are working with less money this month, I will put 300. Then YNAB is a fixed expense, $9.84 a month. Done. Christmas fund, I'm going to add $200. Christmas is still up in the air here at the moment. I don't know whether I'll be able to be with my family or not. If I am, this money is just going through towards champagne, great food, potentially covering the cost of some people's travel to come into town, but we're waiting to see what Christmas looks like. There will definitely still be rules around it, I believe, in Melbourne. Health insurance, we'll put 65.34. That's a half yearly expense. Contents insurance is annual. That just needs $8.11. Moving house is a savings fund, $51.93. Car maintenance, I did actually use some of this money. The car wash opened and my car was filthy, so I spent $55 on getting it properly cleaned. It was basically a house for spiders, so it really needed it. I will replenish that so that it's back to $600 and fully funded. Okay, that's my savings bucket funded, and what that means is this $690.22 I've just put into this category, I will move from the bank account where my pay went in and put it into my high interest savings account. So all of these categories, sorry, I shouldn't say categories, these sections that I have set up reflect the account that the money sits in. It's a really easy way for me to reconcile, but it also helps me make decisions about where the money will sit. That's why all of my annual subscriptions, even though they're not technically savings, because I will be spending them, I guess you'd call them sinking funds. But if I'm not going to touch this for 12 months, why wouldn't I put it somewhere that it's going to earn some interest? So I'll be transferring that amount into my savings account now that I've budgeted. Now, I still have $492.87 left, so let's start to look at our wants now. Household upgrades, I have $0 in this bucket because I spent it all in October. I've bought a few things that I've been wanting for a while. There was some really good sales, so I took advantage, but it also means I shouldn't need to buy anything for a little while. Rather than putting the $100 in I normally do, I'll just put $20 in for now. For Uber and parking fees, this is one of the categories where I'm actually expecting a reimbursement from my employer. I had to pay for some parking, so I won't add to this account because I only need to add $50 and the reimbursement will actually be 60 odd. So I'll receive more than I need this month. And the reason I'm building this up, I have mentioned it before, but just in case you haven't been here before, I'm building this category up with funds in case I return to work. At the moment, we're working from home, and my belief is that when we do return to work, I'll probably drive in or get an Uber more often than I will get public transport, at least at the start. That could all change, of course, if the numbers in Melbourne remain as low as they are with people being sick. Then it may be safe, but we'll wait and see what happens over the summer. Next is my gifts category, which I depleted in October for some birthdays. I will add $50. I don't have any birthdays in November that I need to buy for. As I've gotten older and as my friends have, started having families and buying houses, I've had a lot of conversations with them about whether we buy each other gifts, and we've basically all decided not to do it anymore. We would rather spend time together on our birthdays, and obviously if someone has a baby or gets married, then you buy a gift, but for birthdays we now choose to spend time rather than buy each other gifts. Clothing and beauty, I definitely don't need to fund this. One of the frustrating things in Melbourne at the moment, as we've been in this hard lockdown here, is that our postal service has not adapted well. Even though we've been in lockdown for months and months and months, they have not been able to get their act together. So I have multiple returns of clothing in the mail that have been in the mail for over a month, and they're just going locally. And look, obviously it's not impacting me too greatly. I can still pay my bills, but it's just wild that they haven't worked a system out now to adapt to these changes. So I definitely don't need to add money here. I think I'll have about $200 of returns, maybe $300 of returns come back to me at some point. Thankfully, all the retailers are adapting their returns policy in line with the slow delivery times. For my general and social allowance, I normally put $250 here, but I'm just going to put $100. That's because I'm going to ease out of lockdown slowly. A lot of my friends have rushed back to restaurants and things like that. I don't feel comfortable. As I mentioned, I've been sick in the past. I live with chronic illness, so I need to be really cautious. My takeaway and eating out, I don't need to add to. I've actually got a gift card for Uber Eats, and this continues to be the category where I overspend all the time, and it's sheer laziness. I always have food in the house. It's just those moments when you're tired and you don't want what you've got at home, but I need to stop that. It is such a waste of money. I get annoyed at myself every time I do it, and particularly when the food arrives and it's just not that great. So now that leaves me with $322.87. I'm really comfortable with how I funded my categories so far, so I'm going to put that remainder into my stake investment account. And I invest in the US stock market, so obviously it's a good time for me to buy some shares because effectively the whole market's been discounted with all the volatility in the lead up to the election. Hopefully things stabilise soon. Hopefully things in the US improve in general. I know I've got some people from the US who watch me, and I'm really sending my thoughts and love to you. I really pray that you all stay safe and well. I should address these little faces I was talking about. So for each of these categories, groceries, petrol, household upgrades, Uber and parking, gifts, clothing and beauty, my social allowance, takeaway and eating out, I've realised through my car insurance, which is with AAMI and Suncorp, that I can buy discounted vouchers. So, for example, my groceries, which I get from a Australian retailer called Woolworths, I can get, I think it's 3% off if I buy a grocery voucher. If I buy a voucher in advance and just use that through the month, 3% discount. I think my petrol is a 4% discount. In areas like clothing and household, some of the discounts are up to 15% off. What is so annoying about this is that I knew about this, and I think I've used it in the past a few times when I've been buying concert tickets and things like that. But why I haven't been using this on a weekly, monthly, annual, daily, minute by minute basis and checking there first before I buy anything is beyond me. I can literally get exactly what I want, the exact same amount of groceries I was going to buy anyway, for a reduced price. So I think with my groceries for November, I'm going to buy a $500 grocery voucher, which winds up being $480 odd. And I'll use that voucher through November, and hopefully end November with a bit of a leftover amount here. But also, as well as groceries, like alcohol is discounted, so I can get, I mean, not everyone likes to drink, but I really enjoy a wine at the end of the week, so I can buy my wine discounted. Like, it's just wild that I haven't tapped into this before. So I'm going to start doing that religiously and then see how that impacts what I'm actually spending month to month. I also need to have a think about what my budget looks like as we start to move out of lockdown, because, as I said, if things continue the way they are, then this social allowance I probably do need to bump up, because I probably will start doing dinners with people I haven't seen in ages and potentially going to see a movie, things like that. So I'm starting to think ahead, not just through December, but what my 2021 will look like. And I think in December, beginning of December, I will do a budget planning video for the next year and share with you my thoughts. But for now, I need to sign off. I need to go and get tested. And then I need to go to bed. I thank you so much for listening. Sorry, I sound a little scrambled today, but I appreciate you being here, and I will be back in 2 weeks with my next budget video. Thank you so much.